NVIDIA's earnings are out, and the numbers are staggering. More than $96 billion in quarterly revenue, approximately $89 billion from data center. Revenue more than doubled from 1 year ago, and NVIDIA is now projecting approximately $108 billion in revenue for next quarter, without assuming any data center compute revenue from China. Those are the headlines everyone will be discussing. But tonight, inside the Closing Bell Lounge, we are going deeper because NVIDIA's most important asset may not be one chip, one server, or even one generation of technology. It may be the enormous network surrounding all of it. Developers, cloud providers, data center operators, software companies, energy providers, governments, research institutions, capital partners, and enterprise customers. NVIDIA didn't simply create something people wanted to purchase. It helped create an ecosystem people wanted to join. So tonight's question is not only what can NVIDIA's earnings tell us about artificial intelligence, it is what can NVIDIA teach us about building a network so valuable that other people want to plug into it. Welcome to the Ecosystem Advantage. This is the Bull You Can't Bear. This is the Unbearably Bullish podcast. And this is Thirsty Thursday meets Networking Thursday, coming to you live from the Closing Bell Lounge, where market intelligence meets relationship building. I'm your host, Donald Johns, where we focus on strong markets, stronger mindset, and unlimited opportunity. The market is closed, the conversation is open, and tonight we're pouring something electric. So let's get into it. Tonight's featured drink is the Green Compute Cooler. It begins with green apple for growth, cucumber for clarity, lime for energy, ginger for competitive heat, sparkling water for connections that continue expanding, and a dark salt and sugar rim representing the semiconductor foundation beneath the entire system. For the cocktail edition, add vodka or botanical gin. For the zero proof edition, allow the fresh ingredients, ginger and sparkling water, to carry the experience. Serve it over an electric green coaster and you have accelerated flavor with connected ingredients. Here is the lesson. No single ingredient creates the drink, and no single relationship creates an ecosystem. The value comes from how everything connects. Tonight's Green Compute Cooler is an unofficial editorial creation. It is not produced, sponsored, or endorsed by NVIDIA. Now, let's ring the closing bell and examine the numbers. NVIDIA reported fiscal second quarter revenue of $96.2 billion. That was an increase of 18% from the previous quarter and 106% from 1 year ago. The company's previous guidance called for approximately $91 billion, plus or minus 2%. NVIDIA didn't merely reach that target, it exceeded the guidance midpoint by approximately $5.2 billion. Data center revenue reached $89 billion, increasing 18% sequentially and 117% year over year. That means data center produced roughly 92.5 cents of every revenue dollar NVIDIA generated during the quarter. Edge computing revenue reached $7.2 billion, increasing 13% from the previous quarter and 27% from last year. Gross margin remained extraordinary at 75%. GAAP operating income reached approximately $63.7 billion, rising 124% from the prior year. GAAP net income reached approximately $59.7 billion, while non-GAAP income reached approximately $54 billion. That distinction matters because NVIDIA recorded substantial investment gains during the quarter. A disciplined analysis separates recurring operating performance from gains that may fluctuate with the value of financial investments. But even after making that distinction, the company's operating performance was exceptional. For the next quarter, NVIDIA projects approximately $108 billion in revenue, plus or minus 2%. Importantly, that forecast assumes no data center compute revenue from China. The headline is straightforward. AI infrastructure demand continues to accelerate, but the deeper story is what makes tonight's episode different. NVIDIA is achieving these results not as an isolated component manufacturer, but as the center of a rapidly expanding economic network. When many people hear NVIDIA, they think GPU, but NVIDIA's platform now extends across CPUs, GPUs, networking, storage processing, artificial intelligence software, autonomous agents, robotics, cloud infrastructure, data center design, security, scientific computing, sovereign artificial intelligence, and infrastructure financing. Its Vera Rubin platform is entering full production, with systems operating at partners including Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, CoreWeave, and Nebius. NVIDIA has partnerships involving memory, optical connectivity, cloud computing, autonomous vehicles, humanoid robotics, and national AI infrastructure. It has also announced planned compute financing platforms involving Apollo, BlackRock, Blackstone, Brookfield, Goldman Sachs, and KKR. These platforms are intended to mobilize more than $500 billion in third-party capital for AI infrastructure over time, subject to definitive agreements. Think about what that means. NVIDIA is connecting the technology layer to the capital layer. It is connecting computing capacity to land and electricity. It is connecting developers to enterprise applications. It is connecting national governments to sovereign AI infrastructure. And it is connecting artificial intelligence to robotics and the physical economy. That is the ecosystem advantage. A product fulfills a need. A platform enables participation. An ecosystem connects participants, so additional value can move between them. And that carries directly into professional networking. Your expertise may get you noticed. Your reputation may get you trusted, but your ability to connect people, knowledge, resources, capital, and opportunity can make you indispensable. A powerful professional network requires 5 critical nodes. Node number 1, knowledge. Who understands what is changing? Every network needs people who can recognize trends, interpret information, and separate signals from noise. They don't merely repeat the news, they help other people understand why it matters. Node number 2, capability. Who can execute? Ideas have limited value without people who can build the product, solve the problem, negotiate the transaction, or complete the assignment. Your network needs thinkers, but it also needs builders. Node number 3, distribution. Who can carry an idea into new markets, new audiences, and new communities? Distribution may come from media, sales, professional relationships, strategic partners, or trusted introductions. A great idea trapped inside a small circle remains a small opportunity. Node number 4, capital. Who can provide or connect the financial resources required to scale? Capital includes more than money. It can include equipment, technology, facilities, talent, time, and credibility. Node number 5, trust. Who gives the other participants the confidence to engage? Trust is the operating system of every durable network. Without trust, knowledge gets questioned, capability gets overlooked, distribution becomes transactional, and capital remains cautious. Trust allows the other 4 nodes to work together. Now ask yourself, which of these nodes is strongest in your network? Which one is missing? And most importantly, which node do you represent for other people? Too many people measure networking with the wrong numbers. How many business cards did I collect? How many LinkedIn connections do I have? How many people watch my content? How many influential names are stored in my phone? Those numbers can measure reach. They don't necessarily measure relationship value. An ecosystem is not a list of people who recognize your name. It is a network in which value can move. Information moves, introductions move, opportunities move, credibility moves, capital moves, solutions move, support moves, and that progression changes the questions you ask. You move from what can I sell you to how can I help you? Then who should you meet? And eventually, what could we build together? That final question is where contacts begin becoming collaborations. Stop trying to become the most impressive person in every room. Become the person who makes the room more valuable. Let's do my bull versus bear. The bull looks at NVIDIA's results and sees overwhelming momentum. Revenue more than doubled. Data center revenue increased 117%. Gross margin held at 75%. Next quarter revenue is projected at $108 billion. Vera Rubin is entering full production. New artificial intelligence labs, enterprise demand, sovereign AI, and physical AI are expanding the potential market. The bull says, this isn't simply demand for a product, this is the construction of an entirely new computing economy. Then the bear walks into the lounge carrying the risk report. The bear points out that the data center represents approximately 92.5% of NVIDIA's quarterly revenue. That concentration risk creates extraordinary operating power, but it also concentrates expectations. The bear notices inventories increased to approximately $31.6 billion, up from $21.4 billion at the beginning of the fiscal year. Accounts receivable reached approximately $63.1 billion. Long-term debt increased to approximately $32.4 billion, partly reflecting new financing activity. Expected gross margin for the next quarter is approximately 74%, slightly below the current quarter. The bear also points toward export restrictions, customer concentration, custom silicon, rapidly evolving technology, rising component cost, and questions about whether the enormous AI capital spending cycle will ultimately produce sufficient returns for every participant. And here is the networking lesson. A powerful ecosystem creates opportunity. An overdependent ecosystem creates vulnerability. If one client, employer, platform, partner, or connector controls your entire opportunity set, you haven't built an ecosystem. You've built a dependency. The bull studies expansion, the bear studies exposure. A disciplined professional and a disciplined investor needs to understand both. A network effect occurs when a product or service becomes more valuable as participation grows. But an ecosystem advantage, it goes further. It creates complementary relationships between different participants. Developers create applications, cloud providers deliver computing capacity, data centers house the infrastructure, energy companies power it, Cooling systems protect it, financial institutions fund it, enterprises purchase it, researchers expand what it can do. Every participant strengthens a different part of the system. Your professional ecosystem should work the same way. You may have a mentor who offers perspective, a specialist who fills a knowledge gap, a connector who opens a new room, an operator who turns ideas into results, a capital partner who helps opportunities scale, a media relationship that expands distribution, a client whose trust becomes credibility, a protege whose development extends your impact. They do not all need to perform the same function. In fact, they shouldn't. The strength comes from complementary value. A room filled with 10 copies of you isn't an ecosystem, it's an echo chamber. Here is tonight's opportunity on tap. Look at the major industries being reshaped by artificial intelligence: financial services, healthcare, manufacturing, logistics, media, cybersecurity, robotics, energy, education, and professional services. Now ask, where does your existing experience intersect with this changing economy? Which growing industry needs your relationships that you already possess? Which company has the technology but lacks the distribution? Which entrepreneur has the idea but lacks the capital? Which investor has capital but needs trusted expertise? Which two people in your network should know one another but currently don't? The gap may be your opportunity. You do not always need to own the technology. Sometimes the highest value position is becoming the trusted connection between the people who can build it, fund it, distribute it, and use it. Here is tonight's last call challenge. Draw 5 circles on a sheet of paper. Label them: knowledge, capability, distribution, capital, trust. Write at least one person's name inside each circle. Then answer 3 questions. Which node is strongest? Which node is weakest? Where do you personally create the most value? Now, take one action. Make one thoughtful introduction between 2 people who could genuinely help one another. Do not begin by asking for a commission. Do not begin by calculating what you receive. Begin by creating credible mutual value. Introduce the knowledge to the capability. Connect the capability to the capital. Connect the opportunity to the trusted person capable of executing it. That is how you stop collecting contacts and start building an ecosystem. NVIDIA reported an extraordinary quarter, but the lesson reaches far beyond revenue, margins, and earnings per share. NVIDIA demonstrates what can happen when technology becomes the center of an expanding network of developers, infrastructure providers, capital partners, governments, and customers. A chip can be powerful. A connected system can reshape an industry. The same principle applies to you. Your skills matter. Your knowledge matters, your reputation matters, but your ability to connect those assets with the right people can multiply their impact. Don't measure your network by how many people know your name. Measure it by how much trusted value moves through the relationships you create. Build the connection. Strengthen the ecosystem. Become the person who makes every room more valuable. This is the Bull You Can't Bear. This is the Unbearably Bullish podcast, and this has been Thirsty Thursday inside the Closing Bell Lounge. Tonight's featured drink was the Green Compute Cooler, accelerated flavor, connected ingredients, strong markets, stronger mindset, unlimited opportunity, follow the herd, and always remember to stay unbearably bullish. I'm your host, Donald Johns, and I will see you next time, and we love and appreciate all of you.